Welcome back, Defenders. Don't turn off the video, this is not a rerun, but I have been repeating myself in every video for the last month because the exact same thing keeps happening. Ukrainian assault drones hit Russia's largest Lukoil refinery again, shutting down some airports. Drones attack Russia's largest oil and gas facilities in Volgograd and Astrakhan to disrupt their military use. The oil refinery in Volgograd was just struck last week. Here's what the refinery looks like from satellite images. It's south of the city of Volgograd. And here is where Astrakhan is located. It's on the Caspian Sea. And they're now on fire. I'll link the videos down below if you want to see the fires from the distance. Does this look like critical damage? And oil refineries are not supposed to be on fire, so I imagine operations will be disrupted. So according to Bloomberg, for the first time, Russia's fuel output is in doubt as Ukrainian drones hit 3 key refineries. Here's a quote I want to share with you. "A stoppage of a few refineries for a few weeks is something that the Russian oil industry and economy can easily sustain," says Sergei Vakulenko, a former Russian oil executive now with the Carnegie Endowment for International Peace. So this article says if the refineries are offline for a couple weeks, this is no different than seasonal maintenance, but these are sustained attacks that are not going to stop. Russia cannot make these attacks stop. And Russian authorities and companies have largely remained silent about the impact of these drone strikes on their industrial facilities and economy, with production and export data being classified since 2022, making it difficult to assess the full extent of the damage caused by Ukraine's attacks. So we don't know. We're not getting any data out of Russia saying how bad is it. But just looking at the pictures and videos, it looks pretty bad. And this isn't going to stop. This is the path. This is what Ukraine has committed themselves to. These long-range drones that they're domestically producing, they're finite. They have to pick and choose where to use them, and these oil refineries are the highest priority targets. I don't think Ukraine is going to quit until all of Russia's oil refining capacity within drone range is officially knocked offline. And I want to share this thought. This is a good observation. What was in the past Russia's strategic advantage, its size, has become its strategic disadvantage. Protecting the whole country from cheap but long-range operating drones is not feasible, and even protected areas can be penetrated by oversaturating the local defense grid. Russia is so large and so massive, they can't stop this. They can't stop these cheaply produced long-range drones from attacking all of their critical infrastructure. You just can't produce and deploy enough air defense systems to stop this from happening, meaning it's going to continue. We're going to cover some headlines that I need to tell you about, and then we're going to get into the crazy stories. About halfway through this video, things are going to get nuts. But the US did briefly pause weapons to Kyiv in the first days of the Trump administration, according to Reuters. Here's the Reuters article, and this is what they say. US shipments of weapons into Ukraine were briefly paused in recent days before resuming over the weekend, as the Trump administration debated its policies towards Kyiv. Shipments restarted after the White House pulled back on its initial assessment to stop all aid to Ukraine. There are two factions inside the White House that are at odds over the extent to which the U.S. should continue aid to Ukraine's war effort with weapons from the United States. So we've got Tim Walz, General Kellogg, and Marco Rubio on one side saying that weapons deliveries should continue. And then we've got Elon Musk, J.D. Vance, and RFK Jr. on the other side saying just let Russia win. Just let Russia kill everyone they want to kill and take everything they want to take, and the United States should stay out of it. But at the moment, weapons deliveries are continuing, And there is talk that Trump might start spending remaining funds. In the funds allocated by Congress, there's a couple $1 billion left that Joe Biden didn't use. And it's possible that Donald Trump will start using that money and sending weapons and just not tell anyone. Under Joe Biden, we always made this big deal about package announcements, and then the weapons wouldn't come for like months or even a year later. Whereas Donald Trump might keep it a secret. He might not tell anyone, and then just send whatever he wants to send. Okay, Trump's Ukraine-Russia envoy Keith Kellogg to visit Ukraine after February 11th. That's surprising that General Kellogg would wait almost a month before going to Ukraine to meet in person with Ukrainian officials. Now, I know members of Ukraine's government have been to Washington, D.C., they've been talking in Europe, but yeah, Keith Kellogg is going to officially come to Ukraine in 2 weeks. So when the heck is this summit between Putin and Trump going to happen? Moscow weighs Saudi Arabia and the UAE as venue for possible Putin-Trump summits. And yeah, I think it's going to be Saudi Arabia. I don't think the UAE is really, well, the Middle East is complicated, but when the tax havens in Cyprus were shut down by the EU, all of the Russians who were in Cyprus or funneling their money through there, they all switched to the UAE. I visited Dubai in 2010 and I had a good experience. I enjoyed it. But I don't think as an American I would ever go back to the UAE because it's now saturated with Russians living there and working there. So I think it's more likely that Donald Trump is going to go to Riyadh, he's going to go to Saudi Arabia, and Putin's going to meet him there. But when is this going to happen? Like, what are we waiting for? This was supposed to be resolved within 24 hours, but I guess maybe by March, this summit will occur. And here's the headline. Yeah, we're going to talk about it. Trump wants Ukraine's rare earth minerals in exchange for continued aid. I've been saying on the channel that Donald Trump might do the right thing for the wrong reasons. The correct reasons to be supporting Ukraine is protecting human rights, defending national sovereignty in the UN Charter, and defending democratic allies. But Donald Trump is transactional, and he wants stuff. So this clip of him in the Oval Office trying to talk about Ukraine's resources, listen to the clip and we'll talk about it.
Ukraine earlier, the rare earths, is that something you want them to give the rare earths to the United States?
Yeah,
Okay.
I want to have security of rare earth. We're putting in hundreds of billions of dollars. They have great rare earth, and I want security of the rare earth. And
I want security of the rare earth. So for my longtime subscribers, you might not know this about me, but I have a bachelor's of science in geology. 19-year-old Jacob, a long time ago, thought he was going to be a geologist. So the rare earth metals, it's a row on the periodic table of elements. Given the name, yes, they are rare, and they are valuable in, electronics and semiconductors, and they're hard to find. These are the names of the rare earth minerals or rare earth metals, and this is not what Ukraine has in abundance. They probably have some, but not. This isn't the natural resources that we would be getting from Ukraine. But whatever. What Ukraine is rich in is lithium, gallium, titanium, neon gas, nickel, cobalt, magnesium, uranium, and zirconium. These are not rare earth metals, but they're still valuable. And this was part of Zelensky's 4-point peace plan that he unveiled like 2 months ago. Point 4 was to tempt or allure Donald Trump with a transactional deal. The 4th point, strategic economic potential. Ukraine has natural resources and critical metals worth trillions of dollars. These include uranium, titanium, lithium, graphite, and other strategic resources, which will either strengthen Russia or Ukraine and the democratic world. So if the Russians keep advancing and they take it all from themselves, then Ukraine loses these resources anyways, and their sovereignty. But if they partner with Donald Trump and they can get military aid, they're going to sign some kind of cooperative deal, but they'll retain their country. They'll retain their sovereignty. And Donald Trump has a problem because most of the natural resources that he wants now are either in Crimea or the Donbas region. The eastern section of Ukraine, this is what Russia has been focusing on, because this is where trillions of dollars of untapped resources are located. Resources that Donald Trump now thinks belong to him, because the United States has been providing military assistance to Ukraine. I don't think that storyline is going to go away, but we have to follow up on the trade war that we talked about in my last video. Totally unnecessary and stupid. Trump's trade threats overshadow Euro defense meeting. If we are attacked in terms of trade, Europe, as a true power, will have to stand up for itself. That's what the French President Macron warned Donald Trump. And Donald Trump folded. He didn't even make it through a full day of these tariffs being in place. And the reason why Donald Trump folded is because he received a lot of pushback. Donald Trump is very sensitive to criticism, and he cares about what his supporters actually think and feel. And the pushback from Republicans was enormous. Here is a tweet from Iowa Senator Chuck Grassley. He is the most senior Republican senator in the Senate. He's like 92 years old. Biden inflation increased the input cost to farming by 20%, including particularly high prices on fertilizer. So I plead with President Trump to exempt potash from the tariff because family farmers get most of our potash from Canada. One, this is very cowardly of Chuck Grassley to not try to oppose all the tariffs, but just try and get a carve-out or exemption for Iowa farmers. I mean, what he's saying is true. This would devastate American agriculture. This would destroy family farms in red states like Iowa. So Chuck Grassley and I'm sure other Republican senators explained this to the White House, that their tariffs would destroy American farmers in rural America, which it would. And I think Donald Trump was stunned that Canada and Mexico pushed back. Canada and Mexico announced their own retaliatory tariffs. Here's the tweets from Doug Ford. He's the Premier of Ontario. Starting today and until the United States tariffs are removed, Ontario is banning American companies from provincial contracts. We're going one step further. We'll be ripping up the province's contract with Starlink. Ontario won't do business with people hell-bent on destroying our economy. Canada didn't start this fight with the United States, but you better believe we're ready to win it. And then there were a couple videos of sporting events over the weekend. So there are NHL hockey teams in Canada, as well as NBA teams, the Toronto Raptors. So this was a home game in Toronto in which the American national anthem was being sung, and the audience in Toronto is Canadian, and Canadians booed the American national anthem. This is the first and only time in my entire life that I've seen Canadians boo the American national anthem. To my Canadian viewers, this is the correct response. Boo the national anthem of America as long as Donald Trump is threatening your country. He is threatening to take away your sovereignty. He wants to economically destroy you and then force you to become the 51st state of America. That is lunacy, that is insane, that is completely inappropriate, even if it is a negotiation tactic. So yes, resist in every way possible. And I'm sure someone showed this video to Donald Trump and he basically backed down. Now he's going to try and claim this was a victory, Mexican President Sheinbaum announced that she will deploy 10,000 National Guard troops to the US border to help stop illegal drug trafficking. And Prime Minister Justin Trudeau put out a really Trump-friendly tweet trying to appease him. I just had a good call with President Trump. Canada is implementing our $1.3 billion border plan, reinforcing the border with new chapters, technology, and personnel, enhanced coordination with our American partners. In addition, Canada is making a new commitment to appoint a fentanyl czar. We will list cartels as terrorists, ensure 24/7 eyes on the border, blah, 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 blah. Proposed tariffs will be paused for at least 30 days. So Donald Trump didn't entirely back down. He's just threatening to enact them next month, on March 1st. And the presidents of Canada and Mexico are saying, okay, we'll pause ours as well for 30 days. But here's the thing. Donald Trump didn't get anything because Mexico and Canada were already doing this. Joe Biden orders immigration crackdown, and Mexico sends 10,000 troops to the border to patrol it. This article is from April of 2021. So Mexico gave Donald Trump the exact same thing they gave Joe Biden, and Joe Biden didn't threaten Mexico with 25% tariffs. And as well, same with Canada. The government of Canada's border plan, significant investments to strengthen border security and our immigration system. This was announced on December 18th of last year. So nothing new. What did Prime Minister Justin Trudeau promise Trump that's new in response to these tariffs? And it's the appointment of a fentanyl czar. Everything else in this tweet, Canada already announced they were doing. The only thing new that Donald Trump got for this gambit is Canada is going to appoint a new fentanyl czar. And everyone in Canada and Mexico's government right now are laughing at us. They're laughing at Donald Trump and this buffoonery. So I offered him what we've already been doing, and he dropped the tariffs. OMG, the same. And this is not about drugs. This is not about fentanyl or illegal immigration across the Canadian border, because the problem doesn't exist. This is the data from U.S. Customs and Border Patrol on drug seizures. And since October of 2021, the combined amount of fentanyl that's been seized at the Canadian border is 69 pounds. And a grand total of 2 pounds of fentanyl were seized for the entire fiscal year of 2023. So Canada is going to appoint a fentanyl czar to appease Trump to hunt down and prevent that 2 pounds of fentanyl from getting across the Canadian border. Donald Trump's supporters aren't this stupid. They know that this was a disaster. This is Laura Ingraham on Fox News, confused. Why did Donald Trump back down? He was committed to doing this. He was talking tough. He said there was nothing Canada and Mexico could do to stop him. And then he backed down.
I'm not too impressed with the Canadian response, frankly. I mean, the fentanyl czar, I don't know what that's going to do. And I guess they'll have a few helicopters flying at the border. I mean, it's not nothing, but they were going to get slapped with 25% tariffs, and now those are gone for at least 30 days. I'm not sure what's going to happen in 30 days. Maybe some other concessions, but I think President Trump saw a huge negative reaction to this, as I know you predicted, I predicted, from Wall Street, from the markets, from all the establishment types.
Yeah, the futures for the stock market on Sunday night were down over 2%, and Donald Trump freaked out. He freaked out because the stock market was going down on Sunday night. So what about Donald Trump's core supporters? This is Tim Pool. Tim Pool famously was part of the Tenet media scandal, and he accepted millions of dollars from the Russians to attack Ukraine and promote Russia. And he was all excited about these tariffs. After we destroy the Canadian economy, their will to resist will erode. We will then march in unopposed and deliver Canada to its rightful place as a territory of the United States with no political representation. This is what the hardest core MAGA supporters actually want: the destruction and subjugation of Canada. I mean, this is confusing messaging as well. Donald Trump is saying two different things. Donald Trump is trying to sell to Americans that tariffs are the greatest thing ever. Tariffs were used prior to the income tax, and the golden age of America was when McKinley was president in like the 1890s. So Donald Trump has been saying tariffs are great and will make America wealthier than ever. And now he's saying we cancel the tariffs because I got some marginal concessions from the Mexican and Canadian governments. Well, either tariffs are going to make America great again, or tariffs are bad, and we got something better by convincing Canada to appoint a fentanyl czar to stop 2 pounds of fentanyl from getting across the border. This is destroying America's reputation right now. And I'm going to give you a crystal clear example. This is the YouTube channel Edison Motors. They've got almost 500,000 subscribers. They look fantastic. And Edison Motors is Canada's leading heavy-duty electric truck manufacturer. This is a Canadian company. And this is their response. They put out a short. This is their response to Trump's tariffs, or threats of tariffs returning in 30 days.
So people have been asking me, how are the tariffs going to affect Edison Motors? And of the next 10 trucks we got, 2 trucks are going down to the States. So those 2 trucks, it looks like, are going to have an extra 25% added onto the cost of the bill. But what I'm more worried about is how it's going to affect things going forward as Canada retaliates with our own tariffs. You see, we have plans to source as many North American-made parts as possible, so we get a ton of supply from the United States. Like, we buy a lot of their parts to use in our trucks. And we're going to try and find as many Canadian parts now as we can to avoid those tariffs. But I don't know how many they are and how many we can replace, and we're going to have to start working on that. Unfortunately, some of the ones aren't made in Canada. We'll either have to look at China or look at Europe due to the US now tariffs and this trade war thing. Like, this is so stupid and needless. We worked for 2 years to get as many North American made parts as we can, and now we got to cut out all of our American ones. Like, why? There was no reason for any of this.
So during COVID in 2020, 2021, there was disruptions in global supply chains. The ports were so congested they couldn't find labor. Manufacturers were not getting their imports from Europe and China. So companies like Edison Motors did everything they could to buy American, to stay local, to stay within North America, because Donald Trump negotiated a free trade agreement in 2018. And now all of these Canadian companies are saying we can't trust America. We can't get our parts and supplies from America because these 25% tariffs might come back in 30 days. So Edison Motors and tens of thousands of other small businesses, both in Canada, Mexico, and the United States, they're now trying to go back to China. They now want to buy their parts and components from either Europe or China, and they have to avoid the United States because the United States is not a reliable trade partner. Our reputation has been irreversibly damaged because of what Donald Trump has done. And this is just an assault on reality, guys. I know what you're feeling because I'm feeling it as well. It is every single day that Donald Trump just makes stuff up and lies blatantly. And there are no guardrails. There are no checks and balances. There's nobody who's going to stop him anymore. This is what Donald Trump tweeted on January 31st. Photo of a beautiful water flow that I just opened in California. Today, 1.6 billion gallons, and in 3 days, it will be 5.2 billion. So he posted this picture of running water saying, this is, the water that's going to help put out the fires in Los Angeles. But this is a picture of the Ottawaquechee River in Heartland, Vermont. This is Vermont. And he just posted the picture saying it was California, and he did something that he didn't do. He just makes stuff up every day. And this is what we're all going to have to live with for the next 4 years. So that's Donald Trump. The bigger threat, the worst security risk for America is Elon Musk. Musk announces USAID shutdown, says it's a bowl of worms. So USAID is the department that handles foreign aid and assistance. This is tens of billions of dollars that the United States uses around the world to alleviate suffering, prevent starvation, just in general, help people to build goodwill from the United States. If the United States wants access and influence in other parts of the world, foreign assistance is how you do it. That's how it's been for over 2 centuries of American diplomacy. We help people. Technically it's charity, but we do get things in return. We build America's soft power, and we get access for our companies and especially our military. And Elon Musk just destroyed this. So I need to give you Russia's reaction first, because if you want to know if something is good or bad, just ask what the Kremlin is saying. And the Russian Foreign Ministry commented on the closure of USAID. The U.S. Agency for International Development forced media outlets and digital platforms to ignore facts, opinions, and events, wrote Maria Zakharova, the official representative of the Russian Foreign Ministry. USAID was funding independent journalism for opposition movements. So there are media organizations of Belarusian dissidents, Russian dissidents, Chinese dissidents, Iranian dissidents who are in exile. The United States funds them to promote journalism, to promote facts, to promote resistance to authoritarian governments. And it was all just shut down. And dictators around the world are celebrating. They're cheering that independent media and journalists just got defunded by the United States government. Here's Dmitry Medvedev, smart move by Elon Musk, trying to plug USAID's deep throats. Let's hope notorious deep state doesn't swallow him whole. I'm going to share with you the opinions of Ambassador Michael McFaul. The Communist Party of China is spending hundreds of billions through the Belt and Road Initiative to win influence around the globe, and especially in the developing world. In shutting down USAID, which is only a fraction of the budget of what the Chinese are spending, Musk and Trump are handing Xi and the Chinese a giant gift. So anywhere America retreats, anywhere America shows weakness, the Chinese are going to fill that gap. This is destroying America's reputation and America's standing in the world. And China and Russia are celebrating right now. So where are the conservatives? Where are the Republicans? And if you want to learn what Republicans really think, you just have to look at their tweets and statements basically prior to 2022. Foreign aid is not charity. We must make sure it is well spent, but it is less than 1% of the budget and critical to our national security. So what woke commie would say this? And this is the current Secretary of State Marco Rubio and what he thought in 2017. But because we live in a dystopian timeline where truth no longer matters and reality is distorted, now we don't like foreign aid, and foreign aid is not critical to our national security. And this was dangerous, guys. What Elon Musk did over the weekend, destroying this agency and shutting everything down, he put American lives at risk. At least 1,000 USAID staff had their .gov accounts and government-furnished equipment deactivated and wiped clean overnight with no advanced warning or communication. This includes colleagues deployed in active war zones like Ukraine and Gaza, who rely on their government technology for safety. So Elon shut everything off. He wiped everything over the weekend, while thousands of American citizens, foreign service officers, some of whom are deployed in war zones, were given no advance warning, given no chance to evacuate or find safety before they were locked out of their government accounts and had all of their tech turned off. This is unforgivable. Unforgivable, guys. And he just lies. Elon Musk just lies and makes stuff up every day. Not just once, dozens of times a day. This is what Elon Musk tweeted on February 2nd. Did you know that USAID, using your tax dollars, funded bioweapon research including COVID-19 that killed millions of people? Officially, the CIA says COVID-19 leaked from a laboratory in China. The pandemic started in Wuhan. It started in China. So either it spread through mutations with animals, birds, or it was concocted in a laboratory by the Chinese and it got out. This makes sense. But unfortunately, Elon Musk works for China. China owns him. And he's now saying that USAID created COVID-19 with American tax dollars that killed millions of people. COVID-19 is called COVID-19 because it first appeared in 2019. Who was president in 2019? Donald Trump was president. So Elon Musk is saying that under Donald Trump's first presidency, this is his government agency, his government, created COVID-19 that killed millions of people. It's so evil, guys. It's so stupid and evil. And this man is the greatest threat to global security and democracy right now. Everyone has to do everything they possibly can to stop and resist this man. Elon Musk's weekend assault on USAID, this was personal. This was an act of personal revenge that Elon Musk enjoyed. Why is Elon so obsessed with USAID, a relatively small agency mostly known for helping starving children? And it's because USAID played a significant role in the fall of apartheid South Africa. The country where Elon grew up is gone forever, and he wanted his vengeance. Musk, Thiel, Sachs, they're all from apartheid South Africa. They're mad that their hyper-racist playground is gone, and they want to rebuild it here. Resist. This is not a conspiracy. I am not making this up. This is Elon Musk this week posting about apartheid South Africa or whites in South Africa. White South Africans are being persecuted for their race in their home country. Also, white South Africans are one of the few population groups that are fiscally positive when immigrating to Europe. We should allow more immigration of white South Africans. I'm not going to comment on the race relations of South Africa because that's not my place. I'm an American. I put America first. And Elon Musk is promoting this to the guy in charge of America. This is Donald Trump on Truth Social 2 days ago, parroting what Elon Musk wants him to say. South Africa is confiscating land and treating certain classes of people very badly. He's talking about white people. It is a bad situation that the radical left media doesn't want to so much as mention. A massive human rights violation at a minimum is happening for all to see. The United States won't stand for it. We will act. Also, I will be cutting off all future funding to South Africa until a full investigation of this situation has been completed. Why does Donald Trump care about the internal politics of South Africa? Does he care about the internal politics of Saudi Arabia? Does he care about the internal politics of Thailand? This is sympathy just for people because they share a skin color. That is the textbook definition of racism. I'm not saying what's happening in South Africa is good or bad. I don't know. And I don't care. Why does the leader of the free world, why does Donald Trump care what happens in a South African country? And he said the words. I've been waiting years for Donald Trump to say human rights violation. Where is there a country in the world where white people are having their human rights violated every day? And it's Ukraine. But because the Russians are white, and the Russians are the ones violating those human rights in Ukraine, do Ukrainians get a tweet saying there will be a full investigation? The full force and weight of the United States will come to their support and rescue? This is just so flagrant, guys. Like, he's been elected and he doesn't care anymore. Elon Musk and his goons also went into the Office of Personnel Management and they stole every American's data and information. And this breach was done by Elon's Tesla engineers, college kids with no background checks, and unsecured electronic devices, meaning that the personal identifying information of every agent who works for the FBI and CIA or any other sensitive position has now been compromised. I served on active duty in the Air Force for 6 years, and that's the #1 rule. You don't put an unsecured electronic device into any government computer because there might be Chinese or Russian malware that can infect the entire system. So Elon showed up at the office of OPM to gain control of everyone's personal information, their home address, their bank account information, their medical records, their social security number. And college kids now have everyone's private information on unsecured electronic devices. And we know this is true because Elon Musk is so stupid, he confirmed it. So some random account, I don't know, listed a bunch of names saying these are Elon Musk's Tesla engineers who just compromised the Office of Personnel Management. And Elon Musk responded, "You have committed a crime." So it's a crime to know who's getting access in our government to our private information? This is the deep state. This is the shadow government. This is abuse and fraud and criminal activity. So this account got nuked. Any account posting the names of these Tesla engineers who has everyone's information, Elon is just torching their accounts. This is the hacker group Anonymous. They've got 500,000 followers on Twitter. They posted the names and their account was deleted. To post this YouTube video on Twitter, I'm going to have to edit out this section. I'm going to have to censor myself so Elon Musk personally doesn't nuke my Twitter account to silence me. But on every other platform, I'm going to risk it. I'm going to risk showing the face of this 19-year-old with no experience or knowledge of government who was granted access to a payment system that handles $6 trillion in money. This 19-year-old now has all of your personal information if you're an American citizen. What is he doing with it? We don't know. Elon Musk is now in charge of the US government. Donald Trump sits in the Oval Office signing pieces of paper. It makes him happy. He's signing hundreds of executive orders every single day, not knowing what he's even signing. And Elon Musk is the one actually in charge of the government. Elon Musk is doing whatever he wants, and the reason why you would bring a 19-year-old with you to a government agency to steal a bunch of information is because you want their complete loyalty. This 19-year-old is not loyal to the Constitution. He's not loyal to the American voter. He's not even loyal to Donald Trump. He's loyal to one man, Elon Musk. And Elon Musk is just going to do whatever he wants. Elon Musk is trying to take control of the government of Canada, the government of the UK, the government of Germany. He's interfering in South Africa's government. But he is a South African citizen, I think. Resist. Resist with me, guys. I'm not quitting. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to fight this with every ounce of strength and breath I have. Elon Musk is not going to get me to shut up. This is war. This is war for democracy. and everyone watching this video, you have an obligation to help us resist. Now, if you're not American, don't spend any money on or in America. Don't travel to America, don't vacation in America, don't spend money here. If you can avoid buying American products, do that. That's the only way that will wake up, I think, 20% of the American population. Because Americans right now are just asleep. As long as things economically get better, and they think they will, then they're okay with this. They're okay with not having separation of powers or checks and balances in government, and they're fine with the richest man in the world, who's not even originally an American citizen, doing whatever he wants with his army of teenage hackers. We can be honest, guys. Going forward on this channel, I'm going to have to talk about the crisis in America more. And I might start separating my videos. I might make videos just focusing on the disastrous things that Trump and Elon Musk are doing, and then maybe make dedicated videos just on Ukraine, because I know for people outside the United States, there's not a whole lot you can do aside from boycott us. So let's get back to Ukraine. Frontline reports. Russian supply lines collapse near Kupiansk as Ukrainian drones annihilate a convoy in armor. This is a video I'll link down below from the fantastic channel Reporting from Ukraine. I'm not really a big map update guy because I don't have contacts on the ground, but a channel like Reporting from Ukraine, they do know the commanders and the units. They're getting reliable information. If you want to hear about the Russians getting smashed on the front lines, I'll link this video down below. Landmine kills Russia's highest-ranking official in the Ukraine war. This is the deputy governor of Russia's Primorsk Krai region, and he was killed when his vehicle struck a landmine. We're lucky, guys, that the Russians are so stupid and incompetent. Estonia commits $600 million to strengthen Ukrainian Navy after a successful maritime strike. Thank you so much to the amazing people of Estonia. Final feel-good clip I have for you is a resident of Odessa, who I assume is an opera singer, singing the song O Sole Mio, while residents of the city take shelter underground during a Russian missile attack. The overwhelming majority of people in this world are decent and good, and they want the best for their neighbor. I believe this, and if you're still watching, I know you believe it as well. And these are challenging and perilous and dark times, but I'm not going anywhere. There's nothing that Donald Trump or Elon Musk or Vladimir Putin can say or do that'll make me stop fighting for a world that I know is better. That humans can be better to each other. That's all for this update video. Glory to Ukraine, glory to the heroes. If you found this video informative, give me a thumbs up. Best way to support the channel. Comments and questions, let me know down below. I love hearing from you guys. Till the next video, keep defending the truth, keep defending democracy.